Now, the SABC management says it will wait for direction then from the board after it halted the retrenchment processes for 7 days at the public broadcaster, and that, of course, happening last week. There has been public outcry from all sectors as well as employees belonging to Workers' Union, the CWU. Union members continue to embark then on strike action today outside SABC's headquarters and other regions as well. Meanwhile, SABC management this morning indeed met with the representatives of the CWU, that's the Communication Workers Union, as well as BEMAO, the other union, to discuss the alternatives to retrenchments. Now, the public broadcaster has indeed requested to urgently meet with the union in the hopes of avoiding a threatened blackout scheduled for today. Letters were indeed issued to staff informing them that their positions are either redundant or that they're considered surplus to requirements and have to reapply for their jobs last week. Now, indeed, the strike against retrenchments is indeed continuing. For more on this story, my colleague Nozintombi Mia has been following this for us. But just outside Auckland Park, we do have the Communication Workers Union's Aubrey Shabalala indeed addressing staff as well. There, let's cross live to that now for you and get a sense of what he's saying.
So I wanted to address, that's the first question that we addressed, and they kept mum. But the second point, they wanted us to discuss with alternatives, not the structure. Good. It was drunkenness that they called us into a meeting to discuss alternatives, not the structure. You know what they want us to discuss? Things like cutting salaries, things like salary increase, things like leave days and all those things. Comrades, I heard some of you, because we are now, some workers are beginning to think like neoliberals. Workers are beginning to think as if they own means of production. You hear workers saying, hey, the economy is bad, we must also think alike. You own nothing. We are coming from a squatter camp. You worried about the rain falling. It's none of your business. Yours, we are a worker. When you're inside a taxi, you cannot tell the taxi driver, hey, I think you must go to a petrol station. We are running on empty. It's none of your business. Yours, we are a passenger. So we must correct that. And I know, when I say this, they will say, no, he's a populist. So I was saying to management, you can't cut something that does not exist. When you cut something that exists. You see, what is called a salary of workers, it comes 12 midnight. By 12:15, it's half. By 6:30 in the morning, it's quarter. By the time you rush to the ATM, if you find traffic, you arrive there, it's gone. So what is it that you are cutting? You must ask relevant question to workers, because during the month, it's you who goes to borrow their grant money so that you can go to work and buy petrol. It is you. We know the pain of poverty. We know how to convert a kitchen into a bedroom at night. It is you who know how is it when your child asks you that, Miami, we have a 3-year school and you don't have money, you must go and find somewhere else. You know that, what is it that you are going to cut? I heard you are saying that, but that's none of my business. And I've looked at the structure, they said the average of salaries of SABC workers is high. You know that calculation is wrong. Very wrong. Because they take the salary of my daughter, CEO, and yours of 10 rands, and combine it and come up with an average. And that average is way higher than your salary. But the thing that you don't realize is that their salaries are the ones that take the average from bottom to there. So you say, hey, this money is too much. And if the public is not correctly educated around it, we'll find ourselves in trouble. So we have said to them, we are not going to sit and waste time of workers and everyone. We want them to allow us to discuss a structure. Why we are saying that, comrade? We are not a gumboots union. We are concerned about what goes on air. We're not only worried about our jobs. But fundamentally, we must know what is it that goes on air. What is it that keeps the dignity of our people intact? What is it that protects the indigenous languages? What is it that we feed our people? When our artists make music and then we don't appear on TV and we promote European concept, what is it that we're teaching our people? When our dramas are taken out and we see global grammars coming in, what is it that, and the comrade is saying the bold and the plentiful, but I'm not so sure of that program. What is it that we are teaching? So we are demanding that we must discuss a structure, because when you discuss a structure, that's where you're going to come up with alternatives. What are those alternatives in our view? First, we've made a call about skills audit committee. We need to analyze who has a what skill and who doesn't have a particular skill, so that when we talk about reskilling of our workers, we know exactly what we are talking about. The second point, when we talk of moving into online content digitalization, our journalists are trained properly to compete in that space, because we know we are best journalists here at SABC. What we need to do is to empower them on the technology side so that they continue to make SABC relevant in that space. When you look at BBC, they also have a department that deals with online content such as Twitter and all of those things. In fact, it grows instead of shrinking jobs. We want to see more people participating in that space and really making SABC competitive in that space so that it generates new revenue streams. Those are alternatives that we are talking about. We want to find out, this is 84 years old institution. How many people have improved through SABC programs, academically and otherwise, from where they are? It's a very significant question. And if there are 5, why not 100? If there's none, why not 5? So those are actually alternatives that we are looking at. We think, comrade, over the weekend they were so scared that they sent us a letter. On Monday and Sunday, when they realized all of you are working, they became brave again to undermine the negotiations. So the biggest enemy now is SABC workers. We spoke to cultural leaders. We spoke to traditional healers. We spoke to musicians. We spoke to political parties. We're speaking to civil society. Everyone is behind SABC workers. It's only SABC workers themselves that are not behind their own program. So the study is going to take a little bit time if we still work. Others are saying, no, I'm working from home. As if retrenchment won't follow you to your dining room. You will receive a letter right there in your dining room, and you will collapse alone. There will be no sympathy. So, comrade, let us leave this thing of educated workers. Let us be solid behind the clarion call of defending our jobs. Let us be solid before a clarion call of defending SABC as an institution. Let us defend the jobs of the future, because it is our children that are in university that are going to be employed here. But if we destroy SABC today, those children's futures is doomed. So it's important we say that. So we've given them again to say, up until the board takes a decision. They saw us singing here. It was not an aerobic exercise. We were serious about our call. We said they must answer 2 things and 2 things only. 1, withdrawal of letters that has been issued to workers. We still maintain that even in that meeting today. 2, abandon the restructuring process that includes Section 189. After that, comrade, we have said there's no best researcher like a worker. We must come to you also, comrades, and all of you. You'll be guiding us on how to restructure youth on radio and every union ground. We'll be coming to workers because you know better. We can give you the model of BBC and so forth. You look at it and look at SABC and guide us. We want to take what you'll be informing us, including our own research, and submit it. But any research without a work, it's a futile exercise because it will miss the core of the business. The comparison, comrade, that says SABC structure 40% salary is not viable. BBC has a more content budget than the salary of workers. It's a misplaced phenomenon. I'll tell you why. BBC has one language. SABC has 12. We have language plus sign language. We have now recently included the poem side. So SABC has a broader language. Beyond that, it's also broadcasting in Africa. So if you look how unique SABC is, you cannot adopt a structure that is not relevant to the South African content in terms of broadcasting. So that's what we are fighting for. We are now making a call again till our demands are met. There should be no work at SABC. Till our demands are met. There should be no SABC mic in front of me. No camera. It should be a private institution. This is serious for me. I hear freelancers excluding themselves. The Labor Relations Act of this country includes the freelancers. There's no Labor Relations Act of freelancers, contract workers, permanent workers. It's only the employers who do that to divide us. There's no freelancer who will be dismissed. That's why I made my daughter to say that on Friday. There's no freelancer who will be dismissed for being out. There's no contract worker who will be dismissed for participating on strike. But guess what? We have less than 3,000 permanent workers at SABC. Combined with freelancers, we are 6,500. When you look at that, SABC is eroding permanent employment. It's replacing it with cheap labor. It's replacing it with easily exploited labor. Because many of you will be scared to join unions. Many of you, when you are dismissed, you are not taken to a disciplinary area. You will be told that your contract ends tomorrow. Bye-bye, don't come back. After you have served so many years, after you have compromised so many hours, after you have spent nights coming looking for transport outside and you are left stranded, they will tell you to say your contract ends today. So they are looking for ways to manipulate the Labor Relations Act. The next struggle should be, when you look at the new structure, there should be no single freelancer that works 8 till 5 and peanuts without any benefits, without medical aid, without everything. We must fight for that. So, this thing of 3,000, it's a fallacy. We are 6,500. But if there were jobs that needs to be cut, why so many people are working overtime? If there's serious redundancy, why so many people at SABC are working overtime? If truly SABC is overstaffed, why do we employ people who are working at SABC during the day, at night we see somewhere operating in other institutions? Why is that? If indeed we are understaffed, why yesterday they've employed someone on SAFM as a contractor? Why is that? Why are they still engaging some people in the corridors for new lucrative contracts to come at SABC once they are done with us? Why is that? So it shows you that this fallacy of redundancy and all of the things, that's why they run away from the skills audit. Because skills audit would have exposed that we need more workers than to cut. The last point, comrade. The last point. There is a problem about SABC executive management. Because the HR of SABC did not do its homework. They just put people administration. They don't say, what is this administration about? What is this person doing? Then they say, hey, there's too many administration. Let's cut. And you know, suffer very critical skill. One of the workers is the only person who does that particular function. I don't want to mention here. But his position has been said to be redundant. Why? Because they don't know what is he doing. They just saw administration, they say, that's why the sound vision has been taken out. Because they don't know what are those people are actually doing. So you're sitting with daughters of the highest order. A serious daughter who has to restructure. That's why these parties were called you at night on that Saturday to ask you how many editors are under your department, how many, because she didn't know how many people are working there. Even though we agree with her today, she retracted, she was on her side, but it doesn't erode her role she played in dismissing workers. So you should not be shy, comrades, to tell the truth, even if heaven should fail. So we'll stand here and say wrong things are wrong, and when they become correct, we'll announce so. We applaud the deputy of the chairperson of the board.
All right, then, of course, we are continuing to get that sense then of the strike action happening just outside the Auckland Park offices then of the SABC. Let's cross on over from Johannesburg to Durban, where SABC staff are also picketing. My colleague Mlondi Khatebe is indeed out there as well. Mlondi, won't you just give us a sense of the mood out in Durban and whether staff indeed are there in their numbers still picketing this lunchtime?
Thank you very much, Arabile. Welcome to the Durban office. We are just outside the Durban offices of the SABC, where the workers are picketing outside. You'll have to understand, Arabile, that the challenge is that most of the staff are working from home. So you find that only few are back here in the office. But next to me is one of the senior video journalists, Unom Mhlengubani, who will briefly tell us about the issues of KwaZulu-Natal. We understand that if the SABC continue with Section 189, how this will affect the news in the department. Nomhle, thank you very much for your time. Tell us about the issues in terms of language, in terms of traveling in KwaZulu-Natal. What Section 189 will do to the staff?
It's actually very sad that we find ourselves in this position. You know, the province of KZN is a very wide province. For instance, we find ourselves traveling to a story 4 hours before you get to that story. Then you must come back. You get there, you work for 2 hours. You travel another 4 hours back to the office. And now this is a newsroom that is already decapitated because a lot of vacancies that are there have not been filled. Now, if we're gonna be traveling those distances, then you come back here. It means that tomorrow you do it again. The next day you do it again. The stress that is going to be upon the workers after the retrenchments have been done it is enormous, and the stress that is now with us right now as we speak, we cannot explain, because the retrenchments don't only affect me as an individual. It affects Auntie at home who looks after my children. It affects her family, because she is looking after a family as well. It doesn't just end with us. It trickles down, to a lot of people at home. So it's really not fair. And the structure of the retrenchments as well, you can see that they have been drawn by someone who has no understanding of how the provinces work. So we really do applaud to Usis Patiswa. She must just go back. She must consult with the workers. She must bring in people who've been here for years to help her structure in a way that is going to be progressive for us workers and for the corporation.
The other issue, Nomhle, once this structure, maybe they put just 4 reporters per newsroom, what will happen to the language of KwaZulu-Natal? Because we understand that the KwaZulu-Natal has got Zulu-speaking people, Xhosa-speaking people, also the English. What will happen to the indigenous languages in the province once the scale is down?
Some of the languages are going to have to take a back foot, because if there's so many of you there, you cannot cater for all the languages. In the Eastern Cape, we have Afrikaans speaking people, we have English speaking people, we have Zulu speaking people. Not all of those journalists are going to be speaking all of those languages all at the same time. Some of those languages are going to have to take a back foot. And unfortunately, if you take away a language from the people who listen to it every day, you are killing that language. It means that you have actually decided that that language is not important. Who are you to decide that someone's language and culture is not important, that it is worth killing? Because in essence, that's what it boils down to. You're killing people's languages and cultures. And that's what that's actually everything the SABC is against. Because we are here for actually quite the opposite, to promote indigenous languages and to preserve that culture. If you take away people's languages, then you've killed those people's culture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
There was Nomhle Ngubane, one of the video journalists at the SABC here in Durban, talking about the most crucial part, that if the language is not represented, those languages will take a back seat. And there's also some senior reporters also on my side. Nonkulego Hlope. Nonku, briefly about the mandate of the SABC. If the structure continues, what will happen to the mandate of the SABC?
You'll remember that in 2016, SABC was praised as one of the media houses that held local government elections, in an extraordinary way. Come 2021, we are heading for local government elections. What is going to happen to someone who's sitting at Opongolo, who does not have a grasp of English? Are they going to be catered for? Because we are known as this province that we've got a majority of people speaking isiZulu, but at this, with this structure, we are not even sure that we will have our jobs. And also the people who have sacrificed so many of their years are facing a job. How is that human?
Thank you very much. Arabile, I think you could feel the feeling of the workers here in Durban. They are just picketing during the lunchtime. Others starting in the morning because they still believe that the strike is still on, as well as the CWU is in the meeting, and the PMO, they are in the meeting with the management trying to find solution to this crisis. Back to you in studio.
Yeah, look, the situation is certainly one that needs a whole lot of introspection, not just from management, but certainly from everyone involved here as well. You can get a sense then that indeed the protests are continuing across the country. A little bit earlier on, we even went to our colleagues out in Port Elizabeth, out in the Eastern Cape as well, and you can get a sense that things are not looking good at all.